background in symphonic music and classical music via French horn and trumpet, which I played for high school. And then when I went to college for philosophy, I came across the electronic music lab. I became immediately drawn and obsessed, and even though I wasn't a music student, I found excuses and I found opportunities to sneak in there and spend whole nights in there just sort of patching and exploring these machines. One grows up accustomed to seeing a guitar amp, or a guitar for that matter, has 1/4 inch out, or the guitar amp may has an in and it might have an effects end. We understand what those things do. Then you see on the backside of a synthesizer, besides the audio out, you see these other things: gate, pulse, pulse out, pulse in, VCF, VCA in. And it's tempting to explore these ins and outs. Not having a formal education in this stuff, it was really trial and error and just, patching in and seeing what things did. It was, there was an experimental, phase to it. But it really wasn't until about 2001 that, laptop music and the hardware and the interface had become so abstract, and it was really it was a computer, and the performance that was sacrificed too. So it was basically, you saw the glow on someone's face sitting behind a computer. For me, it was a kind of a call to kind of eschew all that stuff and go back to an interface that was somehow immutable. I don't think it's retro. In fact, I find it to be quite originary, and so many Nord, Access, Virus, these things are emulating that. They're simulating those things. It's not like they're bringing to the fore a new kind of synthesis. It's imitative, it's simulative, and it's virtualized. So I think that stuff's retro in a way. I think the original instruments they're timeless instruments. They function for me like violas, and you have great makers like Buchla or Serge, and they're kind of like the Stradivari of this type of instrument. Right now, essentially I have two voices. I have a kind of a bass line, and I have a lead synth line. And the lead synth, both are controlled by SH-101s. The System 100 101 keyboard and the 102 expander sort of function as a kind of bass line. The 102 expander is strong synced harmonics of the bass line, just to give it a bit of kind of glimmer. Just two sine waves that are essentially tuned to one another, and I'm running them into this wave multiplier, which sort of augments odd harmonics. It really produces these really nice, at times almost distorted, glassy, distorted tones in it. Maybe some piano in there. At times, depending upon the waveform I'm using, you can get some English horn kinds of sounds. Really unique timbres for a synthesizer, for a classic voiced synth. When I would add a rhythm dimension or a percussion section, I typically would use another 102 expander fed by noise from either the Odyssey or from this or from anything really, and yeah, just the filter produces some of the greatest kind of snare drum like sounds. My favorite items, it's hard to say that there is a favorite item because everything works, everything has a unique kind of character and function. But I think the SH-101 is, you know, as a controller keyboard in the CV and gate, you know, domain, it is one of the best keyboards of all time. So for instance, in this thing we were looking at earlier, I have a simple sequence from the CSQ 600 that I'm going to control with the Serge, with the SH-101. So I can play a simple little tune here. And I can add another voice if I wanted, because everything's, you know, the root for the CSQ is C. So if you write everything in C or E with the System 100, it's very and then you can ergonomics of playing a synthesizer, you know, an analog synthesizer, when you do have, you know, jacks and there's drift and there's, you know, fragility and there's vulnerability, it is like, there's something akin to playing like a guitar, you know, strings could break, or violin, the horsehairs could snap, or there are all sorts of environmental and material restraints on the instrument. It's not simply it's not a playback device.